Hello, my name is Greg Honiotes. I'm a senior at Joliet Central High School in the STEM Academy, and this is an explanation of and summary of the projects completed in the first semester of my advanced drafting course. So the first project I got to do was a coin holder that I did for the console in my car. The idea behind this project was to eliminate the cluttered coin tray in the center console, and after researching similar designs, this is what I came up with. The row of quarters is staggered in sections that each hold $1, and the object itself fits nicely into place in the coin tray. As you can see here, this little insert fits around there to make sure it holds in nice and tight. After modeling an inventor, I placed the object into a 1:1 scale drawing and cut that out so that way I could test the prototype and see if the page fit in, so then I could go on to prototyping a foam piece. So then I cut the foam with a foam cutter. It was really hot wires, which was kind of hard because it smelled really bad, and I burned myself probably 3 or 4 times. But then after cutting the prototype, seeing that fit, I made my final modifications, just last minute details, stuff like that, and exported the final inventor file into an STL, and that's the type of file that the 3D printer can read. And I began the print. I think it took like about 16 hours, something like that, but it was really cool because this is the first time I created my own legitimate prototype, and I learned a lot from that. And I got to understand the practicality of the project, as well as tweak the design to fit the function, to make sure it was functional and plausible. We also saved material by lowering the print density to make the inner portion of the holder that you couldn't see was printed in a honeycomb fashion, so that it wasn't completely solid and didn't use as much material. Our next project that we started with was the acrylic sign. We this year got a new laser cutter, and we got to toy around and play with ideas. And then Jack, a kid that is in the advanced drafting course as well, found a video of someone that had made their own acrylic sign. So we decided, let's make our own designs and do that. So this was our first personalized project we did on the laser cutter, and we each did our own extensive research and many different test runs, and we decided on what settings to use for the specific acrylic. It starts with the initial idea, and then we use Photoshop to get each piece of the image to look just right. From there, we took our new image to Illustrator and image trace it so that the photo is completely black. We also added red outlines that were only a pixel thick, and that's for a vector cut, and those really made certain objects stand out. And then finally we finished the image, sent that job to be printed just like a regular document into the Trotec, which is the brand of the laser cutter, their job control application. We mirrored the image over so that way it would appear correctly on the mirrored acrylic, and we would get an awesome final product, as you can see here. This is the image designed in Illustrator, and then I have the Chicago outline of the skyline, and that came out really nice. And then even the ivy turned out really detailed, so my project was really cool. And then Talon, another student in this class, cheated a Blackhawks design that turned out really cool. So this was a really fun project. And then as a group, we created the stem sign, and then we also created keychains. It was really cool because this is one of the first projects we had to collaborate on and mash a bunch of ideas together. But then it was also kind of served as a learning curve for the signs themselves. It allowed us to demo our light display that we were prototyping for our own signs. We also designed small keychains that we could cut out and give away as prizes or memorabilia at events. And this it really helped us see how detailed we could get with the laser cutter, as well as troubleshoot problems like with the vector cutting and cutting things out. And it also taught us how to repeat the jobs many times with the keychains. The collaboration really allowed us to melt our ideas together and teach each other how to do different things. We were all excited to use the laser cutter, but we needed to learn how to use it first. And having 4 of us together to try to figure out was much better than 1. And as you can see, this is our finished stem design that we display at events. This is the mirrored acrylic. You can see Mr. West taking the photo right there. But then this is the LED lights lighting up, and the display really turned out really nice. And then in my senior year at Central, I got the opportunity to be a runner for Mr. Locke, or his student aide. And near the end of the semester, for like a thank you gift, or kind of a Christmas gift, I thought I'd cut him out or engrave a sign for him. And he has it in his office now. But it was so what I did was I traced the Steelman logo onto a small artboard that fit the size of this piece of wood, and included text for his name. And it's meant for his office, but it can just be displayed anywhere. And it doesn't just have to be for him. Obviously, we can do custom jobs for other teachers or other things. It was interesting to make something just based off of a verbal description, because I had asked him if he'd want something like this, and he kind of just said, yeah, like this logo and my name here. So, and it's really important to pay close attention to stuff like that, just to make sure you're getting the details that they want. And the image that they have in their head is very important to them, and that's what they want. So you want to get to as close to that as possible. And then, since we had been making signs, we needed to find a stand for design for a stand for these signs. And Jack and I came up with many different designs, and we produced and developed a small stand that fits snugly on the bottom. They're just really like feet that hold the sign upright. We had an original design that hinged together, but that proved to be more complicated than it was worth. And in an effort to support this design, we realized that these supports could just support the signs themselves. The design was way more practical and used much less material than the initial design, and we could make way more of them in a more cost-effective fashion. And then my final project of the year was a sign I made for my mom. And this is her favorite song. She always says these lyrics to me, and it kind of gets annoying, but I thought for a Christmas present at the end of the year it'd be really nice. And I used the lyrics from one of her favorite songs and created this design and embodied her favorite parts and emphasized the title with the much larger and more artistic text. I also used a vector cut around those to make those stand out a little bit more. And this is the first time we used the tape over the wood. One of the tips that we found online was that when you are laser cutting, the sawdust or whatever that you're burning off kind of leaves like a burn mark. So if you put tape over what you're cutting, then it'll burn onto the tape, not onto the actual surface, and it came out way more clean than in previous design cuts. And it was interesting because we used the blue painter's tape because we figured it would come off a little easier. But the blue dye kind of faded through almost and burnt onto the wood. And we eventually got it to come off, but it was another learning point that we decided to use white masking tape from now on. And then this semester has been full of fun projects that have taught me a lot, like techniques for 3D printing and how to operate and be creative with a new laser cutter. I'm getting familiar with programs that I will use in an engineering-based career, so that's been its own head start. This class has been nothing but fun projects that promote creativity and challenge. Next semester we plan to finish our acrylic signs, as well as tackle new projects that will teach us even more.